Top 5 Wheat Penny, 1-cent coins. Welcome. Today, we're going to explore some of the most valuable top 5 Wheat Penny, 1-cent coins in the United States. United State. We'll take a look at their current market values, important era coins, and the special conditions, including rare copper varieties and unique color shades, that have become major highlights in the collector and investor world. These rare treasures are not just pieces of American history. They are also some of the most valuable and highly sought-after coins that collectors are chasing today. So if you're a coin enthusiast, a collector, or someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of American currency, then this video is made for you. Let's get started with the first coin on the list. Magnifying, glass-tilted left sparkles. White medium star, the 1954 D Wheat Penny. The copper legend with the power to change destiny. White medium star. The story of the 1954 D Wheat Penny begins in a decade carved by determination, rebuilding, and rebirth. America in the early 1950s was moving from the shadows of war into a golden age of innovation and prosperity. Families bought new homes, factories roared with production, and the nation's spirit surged with unshakable pride. In the middle of all this movement, the humble copper penny, specifically the Wheat Penny series, continued its trusted role as the heartbeat of American commerce. The Denver Mint in 1954 stood as a symbol of precision and strength. Known for its reliability and craftsmanship, the D Mint mark became a stamp of honor for coins that were designed not only to serve but also to survive. The 1954 D Wheat Penny rolled out from this mint during a time when quality mattered and every machine worked with meticulous accuracy. Some coins came out ordinary, but a rare few emerged with brilliance. Sharp details, fiery copper glow, and nearly flawless surfaces. This particular penny is forged from copper, and that alone gives it a special identity. Copper is a metal of warmth, memory, and endurance. It gains character over time, deepening in color and history with every year. Modern pennies made with zinc can never match the vibrant soul of a real copper wheat penny. The 1954 D penny, when preserved in high grade, captures the original golden red blaze that collectors chase like treasure hunters chasing fire in metal form. The front of the coin presents the solemn, wise face of Abraham Lincoln. His portrait, sculpted with depth and strength, reminds every holder of his journey from humble beginnings to eternal greatness. The 1954 D penny becomes more than currency. It becomes a small tribute to leadership, sacrifice, and the unbreakable American spirit. Every line on Lincoln's face tells a story of resilience that echoes through the generations. On the reverse, the famous wheat stalks rise tall, symbolic of the hard-working American farmers who fed the nation and fueled its rise. These wheat ears are more than decoration. They represent the backbone of the country, the simple labor that made everything else possible. In 1954, people understood the meaning of work, and the wheat penny honored that foundation with elegance and pride. Holding the coin today feels like touching history with your fingertips. The 1954 D Wheat Penny is part of a series that collectors hold close to their hearts. These coins are relics of the early 20th century, minted from 1909 to 1958. Nearly half a century of American life engraved onto copper. As the series approached its end, coins like the 1954 D became more meaningful. They were not just pennies. They were the final breaths of a design that had defined an era. This historical weight gives the coin an emotional power far beyond its denomination. Millions of these pennies were minted, but survival in pristine condition is rare. Most 1954 D pennies lived harsh lives. They were tossed in pockets, rubbed by fingers, scraped by metal, weathered by time. But the few that escaped circulation, the ones resting untouched in old collector albums or forgotten boxes, are the true gems. These high-grade examples are the coins that make collectors' hearts race and investors' eyes widen. Demand for the Wheat Penny series has only grown with time. Collectors crave the older copper coins, especially those from the final decade of the series. As people search for high-quality pieces, the available supply shrinks dramatically. That scarcity, combined with rising enthusiasm, gives the 1954 D Wheat Penny a market energy that can transform even a tiny cent into a powerful asset. Stories swirl through the numismatic world of individuals who discovered pristine 1954 D pennies by accident. Someone cleaning out a grandparent's drawer. someone opening an old savings jar, someone flipping through a dusty coin folder that had been untouched for 70 years. And suddenly, a copper penny becomes a symbol of good fortune. Proof that wealth sometimes hides in the most unexpected places. The copper itself seems to hold magic. When the coin's original red luster shines under light, it almost glows like a lost flame from 1954 that never went out. That glow is irresistible to collectors. It signals preservation, rarity, and beauty. And in the modern market, beauty and scarcity combine to create value far beyond the imagination of the people who once spent these coins for candy, newspapers, or bus fare. Part of the coin's power comes from its connection to an America that no longer exists. In 1954, families gathered around black and white televisions, children played outdoors till sunset, and communities were built on trust, pride, and hope. This penny lived through those days. It carries their memory. It is a small copper time capsule from a country transitioning into greatness. The 1954 D penny also represents the fading twilight of the wheat penny design. Just 5 years later, in 1959, the wheat reverse disappeared forever, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial. That makes each late series wheat penny like the final pages of a beloved book. Irreplaceable, emotionally powerful, and historically important. Collectors cherish these final years with special devotion. High-grade 1954 D pennies command intense attention in today's market. Their value comes not just from rarity but from the fierce passion surrounding the wheat penny series. Investors love them, collectors chase them, and the few who own the finest examples know that they possess something truly exceptional. This coin, especially in blazing original copper color, can become a life-changing treasure. And so, if you ever find a 1954 D wheat penny in untouched, brilliant condition, treat it as a gift from history. Do not spend it. Do not underestimate it. This coin has the power to surprise you, reward you, and even change your financial destiny. It may be small, but it carries the weight of decades, the glow of real copper, and the heartbeat of American history. The 1954 D wheat penny stands as a timeless symbol of endurance, beauty, and opportunity. For the lucky soul who discovers a high-grade example, it becomes more than a coin. It becomes a rare treasure with the potential to shift fortunes overnight. Next up, White Medium Star, the 1957 D wheat penny. The copper coin that can change your fortune overnight. White Medium Star. The story of the 1957 D wheat penny begins long before the coin ever touched American hands. It begins in a decade of bold dreams, rising industries, and a nation rewriting its destiny. As the United States stood on the edges of technological advancement and social transformation, the Denver Mint continued a tradition that had started almost half a century earlier. The striking of the legendary Lincoln wheat penny. This coin, minted in copper with the iconic D mark beneath the date, became one of the final chapters in a series that had become the heartbeat of American coinage. To understand the power of the 1957 D wheat penny, you must return to that moment in history. America was booming. Highways stretched across the land, skyscrapers reached for the sky, and families built new lives in growing suburbs. Every penny in circulation played its own small part in fueling the economy. But the 1957 D wheat penny is different. It became a timeless symbol, a survivor of a golden era, and today carries a weight far greater than its tiny size suggests. The Denver Mint produced millions of these pennies, yet only a microscopic handful were struck with extraordinary brilliance, flawless surfaces, and fiery copper color. While most pennies entered circulation, collided with metal, scraped in pockets, or faded in jars, a rare few escaped this destiny. Those untouched, perfectly preserved coins became the true treasures. Coins that today can command breathtaking value and ignite fierce competition among collectors. This penny is made of genuine copper, the metal that defined an entire generation of U.S. currency. Real copper carries warmth, richness, and a character that modern zinc-coated pennies can never imitate. When a 1957 D wheat penny shines with full original luster, it glows like a tiny sunrise trapped inside metal. That glow is what collectors crave. It is the glow of history, quality, survival, and rarity all fused into one. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse adds emotional strength to this coin. His face, carved in incredible detail, reflects determination, integrity, and the rise from humble beginnings to greatness. That message echoes through every 1957 D penny. Greatness can grow from the smallest, most unexpected places. Even a single copper cent can carry the spirit of leadership and transformation. The reverse, with its iconic wheat stalks, is a piece of American art. Those two stalks honor the backbone of the nation. Farmers, workers, and everyday citizens who fed the country and built its foundations. The design feels like a whisper from the past, reminding all who hold the coin that the simplest tools often carry the deepest stories. When you turn a 1957 D penny in your hand, you're not just holding a coin. You're holding a century of American identity. Collectors around the world treasure the Wheat Penny series because it represents the soul of early American craftsmanship. But the 1957 D holds a special place because it is one of the final wheat pennies ever minted. Just 2 years later, in 1959, the wheat design disappeared forever, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial. That makes the 1957 D not only historical but emotionally significant. It marks the end of an era. As decades passed, most 1957 D pennies suffered the scars of circulation. Scratches, dings, loss of shine. Yet somewhere out there, waiting in old collections, forgotten drawers, or inherited jars, a few remain untouched, brilliant, red, crisp specimens that look as though they traveled through time. These coins are the ones with unimaginable value, the ones that explode at auctions, the ones that transform ordinary collectors into wealthy investors overnight. There are stories whispered throughout coin communities of people finding pristine 1957 D pennies purely by chance. A jar in a basement. A coin album untouched for 50 years. A childhood collection rediscovered. And suddenly, that tiny copper disc becomes a key capable of unlocking financial miracles. This coin's hidden potential is part of what makes it so exciting. Its value can remain invisible until the right eyes notice its perfection. The 1957 D Wheat Penny carries a strange kind of magic. Maybe it comes from the purity of the copper. Maybe from its connection to Lincoln. Or maybe from the fact that it was forged during a turning point in American history. Whatever the reason, collectors speak of it with a kind of reverence. It is the copper penny that can surprise, reward, and change lives. What gives this coin even greater power in the modern market is demand. As collectors chase older, high-grade wheat pennies, the pool of surviving gems grows smaller every year. That combination, shrinking supply and rising desire, creates an electric energy around the 1957 D penny. Prices climb. Bidding intensifies. And the owner of a flawless example suddenly finds themselves holding something far more valuable than they ever imagined. This coin is also a tribute to American minting excellence. The Denver Mint was known for strong strikes and high-quality production, and the sharp details on the 1957 D reflect that craftsmanship. Every line on Lincoln's coat, every texture on the wheat stalks, every curve of the lettering shows the dedication of artisans who understood they were creating more than currency. They were creating legacy. A high-grade 1957 D penny doesn't just capture collectors' attention. It commands respect. It carries history, rarity, beauty, and symbolism. In the modern world, where copper wheat pennies are worshipped by enthusiasts, a flawless 1957 D can become a treasure capable of elevating its owner into extraordinary financial territory. It is small enough to slip into your palm, yet powerful enough to shift your fortune. And so, if you ever come across a bright, clean, sharp 1957 D wheat penny, guard it carefully. Do not spend it. Do not overlook it. Do not underestimate it. This coin is more than a cent. It is a relic of America's past, a spark of financial opportunity, a symbol of perseverance, and perhaps the key that could change everything for you. The 1957 D wheat penny stands as a copper king, humble in size, mighty in value, and timeless in spirit. And for the lucky person who holds a flawless one, it may very well become the coin that transforms their life forever. Next up, White Medium Star, the 1956 D Wheat Penny. The copper legend with the power to change your fortune overnight. White Medium Star. The 1956 D Wheat Penny is one of those rare American treasures that looks humble on the outside, yet carries a storm of history, emotion, and potential fortune inside its tiny copper frame. Struck in Denver during a time of massive national change, this coin became far more than a simple cent. It became a survivor, a storyteller, and for a lucky handful of collectors, a golden ticket hidden in copper clothing. The 1956 D-penny is proof that small things can hold astonishing power. To understand this coin, you must step into 1956 itself, a year when America stood in the doorway between an old era and a new one. The post-war boom was exploding across the country. Families were growing, industries were rising, and the United States was stepping confidently into its role as a world leader. And in the middle of this vibrant electric chapter, the U.S. Mint continued striking the beloved wheat penny, honoring Abraham Lincoln's legacy and carrying his quiet strength into the pockets of millions. The Denver Mint had one mission for the 1956 penny: create a coin that captured America's values in the middle of its upward climb. The mint mark D, burned at the bottom of the date, represented craftsmanship, discipline, and precision. And yet, even with tens of millions minted, only a microscopic number of 1956 D pennies were struck with extraordinary quality, flawless detail, and vibrant copper brilliance, those rare few that today command life-changing value. Part of the magic of the 1956 D penny lies in its metal. This was a time when pennies were made of real copper, rich, warm, natural copper that has become almost sacred to modern collectors. As the decades passed and the world shifted to cheaper metals, the original wheat-era copper pennies became symbols of purity, strength, and authenticity. A perfect 1956 D penny shines like it was touched by sunlight itself, glowing with a beauty that modern pennies can never match. But value doesn't come from metal alone. Value comes from survival. And very, very few 1956 D pennies survived without scratches, dents, or the slow invisibility of circulation. Most were passed from hand to hand, scraped in cash drawers, worn down in pockets, or mixed into jars for decades. The rare examples that escaped this fate, the untouched, high-grade blazing red specimens, are the ones that shock collectors and auction houses with jaw-dropping prices. This coin carries not only rarity but emotion. On the front stands Abraham Lincoln, a man whose journey from poverty to greatness mirrors the hidden potential of the penny itself. His portrait reminds us that greatness can rise from the smallest places, and that even ordinary beginnings can lead to extraordinary endings. Every line of Lincoln's face, every curve of the wheat stalks on the reverse, whispers the same message. Strength grows from humility. The reverse of the 1956 D penny tells its own story. Two wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent, representing the backbone of America. Farmers, workers, and everyday citizens who built the nation from the ground up. Those simple wheat stalks today radiate nostalgia, reminding collectors of a time when coins weren't just tools of exchange but symbols of national identity and pride. Collectors love the 1956 D penny because it represents the final strong years of the wheat penny era. Just a few years later, in 1959, the design would change forever. This gives the 1956 D coin a special emotional weight. It is one of the last pennies made under the original vision of Victor D. Brenner, whose design honored Lincoln on the centennial of his birth in 1909. The 1956 D penny is the echo of that century-old tribute. What truly elevates the 1956 D penny into the realm of the extraordinary is the rare appearance of high-grade, fiery red examples. These pieces look as if they were minted this morning. Glowing copper surfaces, sharp wheat lines, and a bold, crisp portrait. Coins like this do not just appeal to collectors. They command bidding wars. They create legends. They turn everyday people into overnight wealthy investors. Stories circulate in the coin world of someone discovering a pristine 1956 D penny in a forgotten family album, or tucked in a desk drawer, or given in change decades ago without a second thought. That is the thrilling magic of this coin. You may already own one without even knowing that it carries the power to change your financial destiny. And among collectors, the 1956 D penny has become known as the copper coin that rewards the patient, the curious, and the lucky. The market for high-grade wheat pennies grows more intense every year, and the 1956 D sits at the center of that rising storm. Collectors know the beauty of this coin, the history it carries, and the impossible rarity of flawless examples. As demand grows and supplies shrink, prices climb higher and higher, creating the possibility of life-changing profit for the owner of the right coin. There is also a quiet spiritual energy around this penny. Perhaps it comes from Lincoln's historic legacy. Perhaps it comes from the purity of the metal. Or perhaps it comes from the countless stories of people turning tiny pennies into incredible success. Whatever the reason, the 1956 D penny feels like a symbol of transformation. A reminder that even the smallest object can bring immense reward. This coin also stands as a reminder of America's craftsmanship. The Denver Mint produced coins with powerful strikes and bold features, and the 1956 D is one of the proudest examples. When you study the coin, you see more than metal. You see skill, dedication, and the careful work of artisans who knew they were creating a piece of national heritage. In the modern market, where collectors chase rarity, beauty, and historical weight, the 1956 D wheat penny shines brighter than ever. It is a coin that bridges the past and future, a treasure that combines history with opportunity, and a masterpiece that carries an aura of luck, wealth, and destiny. If you possess one in pristine condition, you possess something that can change everything. So if a 1956 D penny crosses your path, treat it with respect. Do not spend it, do not ignore it, and do not underestimate its power. This is not just a copper coin. It is a quiet king of American numismatics, a miracle in 1 cent form, and a possible doorway to extraordinary fortune.